What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. In this video today, I'm going to put forth the case why you shouldn't always squat, bench, and deadlift. Or for some people, why you shouldn't squat, bench, and deadlift. You see, if you have goals, especially hypertrophy goals, it is not necessary to do the squat, bench, and deadlift. This is coming from someone who is a huge advocate of these big compound movements. Someone that focused last year on trying to increase my deadlift. I deadlifted 602 pounds, a big goal of mine for a long period of time. Squatted 500 pounds, and I bench consistently. So I do all three of these movements. But if you're watching this video today, I'm going to put forth the argument for a lot of individuals out there focusing on those three big movements and only those, so those are the cornerstone of your programming, might not be the best choice for you. And I'm going to focus specifically on injuries and hypertrophy. Let's first talk about injuries. Well, for me, I just explained already that I wanted to deadlift 600 pounds. It is a goal of mine, but I also have hypertrophy goals. So I want to increase the overall size of my body, my legs, the quads, the glutes, the upper body, everything. And so what happened in 2015, I injured my SI. I tried to get over it. I tried to figure out how to come back, when it comes to doing deadlifts and other compound movements, but I kept re-aggravating it. I kept trying to fix it, but it kept happening, the same problem. And basically what happened, through a period of 18 months, I was spinning my wheels around. I couldn't quite solve it, and as a result of that, my strength went down quite rapidly. And so I had to basically start not back from block one, but from a much lower base. This was because I was focusing too much on still trying to do deadlifts and squats and all those other big compound movements. If, on the other hand, I decided, you know what? I'm injured, maybe let me find some workarounds. Let me focus really on those and progressively overload those movements. So instead of a squat, guess what? I'm going to try a leg press. I'm going to become really good at the leg press. I would have made more gains. Think about it like this. I get a lot of DMs from a lot of young YOLO bros asking me different questions, saying like, hey man, when I deadlift, I like to deadlift, I want to get stronger, I also want to build some muscle. Maybe I want to build some muscle more now is my priority. But when I deadlift every few months, my back locks up and then it puts me up for a few weeks and then I feel like I regress when it comes to my progress. And it's kind of this vicious cycle where I can't ever get stronger. And my short answer to someone like that, while they're trying to figure out what's going on, is do something else. A deadlift is a great exercise. You know what also builds as much muscle, maybe if not more, especially if you read Greg Knuckles' article, I'm going to link it in the description, the trap bar deadlift. There are certain variations you can do. First off, they'll probably be better for your body. But in the second place, even beyond variations, you don't have to do a deadlift, you don't have to squat. Especially if we take a look, once again, at an entire year's worth of training. If in 1 year, because of injuries, nagging issues, you can't really ever get stronger in that big compound movement, well, you're going to really halt your progress if you just keep trying to get stronger in that movement. On the other hand, if you pick a movement you can kill, like the leg press, the leg press, and you keep focusing on getting better, progressively overloading that movement, you'll build a lot more muscle doing what you're able to rather than chasing what you can. So that's the first circumstance I would really say that doing a squat or a deadlift or a bench press, if it doesn't work for you, if you have injuries, nagging issues that don't allow you essentially to progressively overload that movement, change it up. I think it's quite clear, especially if we're talking about injuries or nagging issues, why you don't have to squat, bench, or deadlift. But let's now talk briefly about hypertrophy. I spoke about the deadlift and the squat. Let's talk about the bench press as it relates to hypertrophy. This might be a slightly unpopular opinion, but I don't think the bench press is the best upper body movement for hypertrophy, for growing your muscles. I think it's good. I think there's a lot of variations that can be as good, if not maybe a little bit better. If you want to grow your chest, I would advocate, and this is coming from someone that benches 365, loves to bench press, I am a bench bro, I would say a low incline bench press would grow your chest faster than a flat bench press. And I would say at the same time, if you didn't want to bench press at all, let's say if you took all that time and focus you've been spending on the bench press, not getting the chest gains you want, and instead did some dips, did the exact same kind of progressive overload scheme you would have for the bench press. So instead of now the bench press being your main chest movement, you now do dips, you'd probably experience the exact same amount of gains, if not maybe a little bit more, because for some people it might come more naturally doing a dip than the bench press. So I don't think everybody has to do the bench press, especially the flat bench press. And I spoke about that, I think it was a video a week or two before, but how I love push-ups. I love movements that I can feel the muscles working, that I can once again progressively overload, and if you do weighted push-ups, you absolutely can. I think weighted push-ups are another good substitute. So there is no reason, especially if you are a person, and that's the key word today, especially if you are someone, because there are exceptions to the rule, where you don't feel your chest when you bench press, change it up. And I actually have to give credit to Alex from Alpha Destiny, because he is the person that made popular that whole rack pulls above the knee, where essentially for some people, as it relates to the deadlift, their major goal is to build their traps or their back, and so by essentially focusing on what builds the traps the most, shortening the range of motion and overloading the movement, you'd experience superior trap development from a rack pull as opposed to a deadlift. So we could see, if we're considering hypertrophy, nothing is set in stone. For your goals, for your body, for what feels like you could really add more weight, get stronger with over time, you don't have to pick any one movement. And reconsider if you've been, doing a training program for a period of time and not getting the gains that you want. It's time to change it up. I already spoke before, you can do variation. So instead of the deadlift, you could do the trap bar deadlift. Instead of the squat, you could do a safety bar squat, you could do a front squat. Instead of the bench press, you could do an incline bench press. Or you could change it up entirely. Throw out the bench press and instead do a hell of a lot of dips, overhead press, and push-up variations that are weighted. And I think once again you would get the same amount of hypertrophy, and maybe if you're just not a good responder for that particular movement like the bench press, better hypertrophy. I do think we get set in our ways. We see everybody else doing something, so of course we must follow it. But sometimes it's important to reconsider what you're doing and why you're doing it. I do think, to state or restate once again, that the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift are all excellent compound movements, but they are not necessary for a hypertrophy or for a lot of goals for the individuals watching this video. You can certainly change it up and probably experience better results. Anyways, that is all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you train your calves? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, I'm looking right at you. Make sure to like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace!